All right, welcome back to the Daily Facts, and we're picking up on part two of the Devon's indictment, the Green Beret, the U.S. Green Beret, his indictment. So let's get back into it. During Devon's meetings with the Russian intelligence service in December 1996, a Russian intelligence agent also asked Devon's what he told his ROTC, and ROTC is Reserve Officers Training Corps, that's here in the United States, about his connections to Russia. Devon's answered he was being very discreet. A Russian intelligence agent instructed Devon's not to disclose his interactions with the Russian intelligence service. That's interesting. So a Russian intelligence agent is telling him not to talk about their interactions, not to speak of it with the Russian intelligence service. All right, so moving on, Devon's meetings with the Russian intelligence service from 1997 to 1998. All right, let's get into it. Devon's traveled to Russia again in September 1997 after graduating from the University of Minnesota. So he's starting very young, right? You just wonder, like, did they already decide that they wanted this individual to spy? Did the U.S. government know that that this person was spying? I mean, it's all questionable, right? In October 1997, Devon's met with agents of the Russian intelligence service, including RIS-1. Okay, that's the person they're calling RIS-1, at an office of the Russian military base in Chelyabinsk. During the meeting, the Russian intelligence agents gave Devon's a code name, Iker Lesnikov. Devon's wrote a statement stating that he wanted to serve Russia and signed the statement with his code name. One of the Russian intelligence agents, herein RIS-2, so now we've got a second person, RIS-2, encouraged Devon's to visit him in Samara before Devon's return to the United States. Oh, okay, so now they're giving him instruction. After the meeting in October 97, Devon's worked in Russia until he was called to start his active duty service in the U.S. Army in July 1998. So he was already an agent for Russia before he even entered into the Army. Before leaving Russia, Devon's contacted RIS-2 and informed him about his plans to return to the United States. RIS-2 again urged Devon's to visit him in Samara before departing. Devon's agreed and met RIS-2 at a train station in Samara. RIS-2 introduced Devon's to another agent with the Russian intelligence service, herein RIS-3. So now there's a third person. RIS-3 entertained Devon's for several days in the Volga region of Russia, including at a countryside resort in the area. During this time, RIS-3 encouraged Devon's to serve well in the U.S. Army. Well, of course he wanted him to serve well because he wanted him to continue to move up the ranks so that he would probably be, at that point, not probably, he would be privy to more and more important information, like moving from confidential information to top secret information. Okay, which we covered in part one, all of the different the secret, top secret, confidential, so on and so forth. Go back to part one and listen to that because it explains all of that. Before Devon's departed for the United States, the Russian intelligence service provided him a telephone number to use to contact it and instructed Devon's to use his code name if he did. Devon's told the Russian intelligence service that he would return to Russia when he was on leave. So he's already planning to come back, probably to give them information. I'm assuming he wouldn't do it over the phone, I guess. But you have to wonder, wouldn't the U.S. government be aware of Devon's traveling back and forth to Russia? Would they not be listening in on conversations somehow, some way? I would think they would, but we'll never know, right? We can only go by what this indictment tells us, but we're allowed to question that. Okay, Devon's returned to Russia in June 1999 when he was on leave during his tour in South Korea. Okay, so now like he promised while he was on leave, he was going to visit. So he did. The first week he was in Russia, Devon's called RIS-2 and informed him that he was in Chelyabinsk. Devon subsequently met with RIS-2 in Chelyabinsk. During the meeting, Devon's asked RIS-2 which agency he worked for, and RIS-2 answered that he worked for the GRU. Okay, now the GRU is the main intelligence directorate of the general staff. And we talked about that in part 1 if you want to go back to that. Okay. During the meeting, RISC 2 asked Devens for information about his unit in South Korea. Devens provided information to RISC 2 about, among other things, the number of men in his platoon, the unit's assigned equipment, and the unit's mission. During the meeting, Devens told RISC 2 that he wanted to leave the U.S. Army. RISC 2, however, encouraged Devens to remain in the military. Well, that's a no-brainer, right? Of course you want him to remain so he can keep giving you information. At one point during the meeting, RISC 2 questioned whether Devens was actually a spy for a U.S. intelligence agency. Aha! See, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows who. You have to watch your back at all times. And it's just like a game of spy. You don't really know what side anybody's on. Devens denied the accusation, insisting that he loved and was committed to Russia. RISC 2 asked Devens whether he would be willing to submit to a polygraph, and Devens agreed. RISC 2 did not ultimately give him a polygraph. Okay, so that's just the game that people play, right? Well, I'm going to ask you to take a polygraph. And that's supposed to put the fear of God in people. Well, oh my God, yeah, I'm not lying. I'll take a polygraph. Or, oh my God, I'm lying. I can't take a polygraph. And so people think they can base your response, how you respond to that, and then determine if you're on their side or not, I'm assuming. RISC 2 also asked whether Devens would agree to employ electronic equipment for the Russian intelligence service, and Devens agreed. Again, RISC 2 did not follow up on the request. Like I say, probably just testing to see what he would say. During the meeting, RISC 2 provided Devens with an address in Samara and told him to send a postcard as an emergency signal if he needed to make contact with the Russian intelligence service. RISC 2 instructed Devens to use his code name on the postcard and a cover greeting like Happy Victory Day or Happy Mother's Day. During this time, Devens sought to help Russia as he considered himself pro-Russian and a loyal son of Russia. Because again, his mother's from Russia, but like I say, go back to part 1 and listen to that. Devens thought that the United States was too dominant in the world and needed to be cut down to size. Okay. Devens' meetings with the Russian intelligence service in 2000. Now, this says Devens thought that the United States was too dominant in the world and needed to be cut down to size. Now, I don't see quotations around that, so I don't know if someone's surmising based on a conversation they had, but there's no quotes there, so we can only assume that this is something that somebody has surmised or is assuming, all right? The person that put this indictment together. Devens' meetings with the Russian intelligence service in 2000. Devens returned to Russia around July 2000. After he arrived, an agent with the Russian intelligence service, RISC 4, called Devens in Moscow and introduced himself as RISC 2's friend. RISC 4 informed Devens that RISC 2 sent his greetings but had accepted another job. RISC 4 was also from Samara but agreed to meet with Devens in Moscow. Devens met with RISC 4 at least twice. My God, this guy is just like going from RISC 2 to 3 to 4. I mean, during the meetings, Devens informed RISC 4 that he was joining the U.S. Army Special Forces. RISC 4 encouraged Devens to pursue the Special Forces. RISC 4 told Devens he was of no use to Russian intelligence service as an infantry commander. And we know that because, like I say, the higher up the rank you go, the more classified, top secret, so on and so forth, information you're going to be privy to. During the meetings, RISC 4 asked Devens for information about Devens' unit at Fort Polk. Devens provided RISC 4 with information about the unit's assigned equipment and mission. Now, keep in mind, they're not going into detail. We don't know what kind of information he was providing, but we do see throughout this that he is giving them information. Now, he's just an infantryman at this point, but now he's moving up. Okay, during the meetings, RISC 4 also paid Devens $1,000 as gratitude for his assistance to the Russian intelligence service. Okay, so now he's really in. Now he's accepting money. Not that he wasn't in before, but this just cements it. Initially, Debbins declined the payment, stating he had true love for Russia. However, Debbins ultimately accepted the money and signed for it using his code name. Oh my goodness. Well, he's young. So it's like that goes against Debbins, his youth, but it works for them because now they're really cementing him into this. Debbins' meetings with the Russian intelligence service in 2003. Debbins traveled to Russia again in August 2003. After arriving, Debbins called a telephone number that the Russian intelligence service previously provided him. Debbins arranged a meeting with the Russian intelligence service at a hotel in Chelyabinsk. There, Debbins met with the two agents of the Russian intelligence service whom he had not previously met, hereinafter RIS 5 and RIS 6. During the meeting, RIS 5 and RIS 6 asked Debbins about his unit, the 1st Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group. Debbins provided information about the number of companies and men in the unit and their location and role, which is huge, I might add. Now you are able, you know who these people are. I mean, at some point, these U.S. military men could go undercover. I mean, now their cover's blown, whatever the case may be, because he's in special forces now. Okay, so during the meeting, RS5 and RS6 instructed Debbins not to take a polygraph and offered to give him training on how to deceive polygraphs. They further encouraged Debbins to continue pursuing a career in the Special Forces. Of course they did. During the meeting, RS5 and RS6 gave Debbins a bottle of cognac and a Russian military uniform as a gift. At some point, RIS 5 informed Debbins that he was associated with the GRU. Again, the GRU is the main intelligence directorate of the General Staff. All right, let's move on. I mean, this is a spy novel, right? Debbins' meeting with the Russian intelligence service in 2008. Debbins traveled to Russia again from August to September 2008. During this time, Debbins was no longer serving active duty in the U.S. military. According to Debbins, he wanted to do business in Russia and sought the Russian intelligence service's assistance in doing so. Okay. So after arriving in Russia in August 2008, Debbins met with RIS 5 and another Russian intelligence agent, also from Samara, hereinafter RIS 7, at least 2 or 3 times. According to Debbins, he informed RIS 5 and RIS 7 that he was finished with the U.S. Army and wanted to pursue business opportunities in Russia. Now, you and I both know they're not going to be happy with that because this guy, Debbins, is moving up. And he's again going to be privy to more and more and better information. They don't want to hear him quitting the Army. During the meetings in either 2008 or 2010, RIS 7 provided Debbins with the names of his cover company and gave Debbins a business card with contact information. RIS 7 instructed Debbins to tell his family that he was working with the cover company to explain any calls that he might have with the Russian intelligence service. During the meetings with RIS 5 and RIS 7, Debbins provided them with information about, among other things, his former special unit's mission and activities in Azerbaijan and Georgia. This disclosure included information that was classified, secret, no foreign, meaning that the unauthorized disclosure of the information, including to foreign nationals, was prohibited and reasonably could be expected to cause serious damage to U.S. national security. Boom. During the meetings with RIS 5 and RIS 7, Debbins also provided them with the names and information and about a number of his former Special Forces team members. Debbins understood that RIS 5 and RIS 7 sought this information for the purpose of evaluating whether to approach the team members to see if they would cooperate with the Russian intelligence service. Okay, so they just want to continue, and now he's done, so let's tap on somebody else's shoulder. Debbins identified for RIS 5 and RIS 7 at least one specific Special Forces team member whom he thought they could approach. During the meetings with RIS 5 and RIS 7, Debbins also provided them with the names of the U.S. counterintelligence officers who had previously attempted to recruit Devens to participate in a program. Devens provided information to the Russian intelligence agents in 2008, at least in part because he was angry and bitter about his time in the U.S. Army. Devens also thought that Russia needed to be built up and that America needed to be cut down to size. Oh, all right. Devens further provided this information because he wanted to obtain the Russian intelligence services assistance in doing business in Russia. During the meetings, RIS-5 asked Devens whether he had any U.S. military field manuals. After Devens confirmed that he did, RIS-5 asked Devens with scanning the field manuals, putting them on a flash drive, and bringing the flash drive to their next meeting. So he tasked him with scanning those manuals and bringing them to him during their next meeting. So we're going to end it there. Thank you for stopping by the Daily Facts. Do like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.